Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Total War Warhammer. Today we have an Empire Civil War multiplayer match. Myself playing as Middenland, and Havoc playing as Talabecland. So, in this scenario, the two factions are at war and they're facing off in the plains in the Empire. So, I am about to go up against an army which I am not comfortable playing against. So, Havoc's gone for a very cavalry and skirmisher based faction, whereas I've gone for essentially a heavy infantry force here. So I've gone for quite a few great swords mixed in with some crossbowmen. I do have a few units of artillery with the Hellstorm rocket battery, the great cannon. I also have a Rambler there, the general of the Empire, and I also brought a bright wizard along with me, along with two units of halberdiers over here. And the only cavalry that I have with me on either flank are the Empire Knights. So I have two units of Empire Knights. So the force that Havoc brought with me, which I found quite frustrating to play against, and I think it's, on reflection, I might have sounded a bit like, oh my gosh, that faction, that build, like it was frustrating to play against. But I think it's good to do things outside of my comfort zone. So good on Havoc for bringing in a faction or a faction build which I was going to struggle playing against. So we have a unit of Outriders here, several units of Outriders, and we also have two units of Demigryph Knights hidden in the woods here. His core consists of infantry that won't really be much of a problem for my great swords. He's got some halberdiers, spearmen, lots of spearmen and some swordsmen, mixed in with a couple of crossbowmen and two units of Hellstorm rocket batteries along with himself, and he's got a warrior priest on a horse, a steed, and he also has another two units of Demigryph Knights in the woods here. So without further ado, I'll click on play and we'll see how this Empire Civil War multiplayer match plays out. So we both positioned ourselves on the hill, but Havoc decided to go for it, start coming towards me. So lovely bright colours with Talabecland there. And then we also have my unit of blue as Middenland. So I was really hoping that he'd come into range of my guns first. I brought my great swords in front just in case he attacked from head on. So we've got my Hellstorm rocket batteries starting to fire into his positions. And they're getting a few kills early on. So as you can see, like, they're anti-infantry. They've killed a few swordsmen. And we're going to keep on firing. I think I've also got a couple of cannons in here as well, which will also start firing as well. But no, where are my cannons? Oh, here are my cannons. So they... Oh gosh, I'm going to be firing into my greatswords. Let's ignore that. Let's ignore that. In the meantime, you can see that getting into the forest quickly was definitely a good move by Havoc, as that gave him essentially a lot of shelter. But we're still getting a few decent shots in over here. And he's starting to position his pistoliers, or his Outriders, onto my flank. So you're going to see now that I'm going to push my Empire Knights straight and get a pretty good decent charge against the Outriders, and we'll keep on chasing them away from my main line to start with. I do also position the halberdiers and crossbowmen as another kind of bit of a defence. So we're taking fire from his Hellstorm rocket batteries now, but at the minute I'm content to let him kind of come forward. We have more firepower than he does, and I'm forcing back this unit of Outriders. In fact, kind of routing them off the field already. So at this point I was thinking, yes, keep on charging, Empire Knights, keep on charging. So even though he can kind of flank me pretty easily now, he can just fire into one unit here. So there we go, he's starting to fire into my Empire Knights. But I was content to keep them away from the main battlefield. So now I'm starting to bring my great swords into the forest, as I didn't want to take too much fire myself from the rocket batteries. And Havoc is about to reveal his kind of secret weapon here in this battle, his Demigryph Knights. So they'll be coming out of the woods soon to attack that unit of Empire Knights. And you'll pretty much see that engagement goes heavily his way. I try and pull out, as I didn't want to get caught by those units, but I think being hampered down by the fire here. So he has a unit of Outriders firing into the unit, and they're being chased down by Demigryph Knights as well. So they're just taking a lot of damage, and these Demigryphs come charging out of the woods, and they're going to hit my Empire Knights and absolutely wreck them. So, I knew my main line was going to pretty much wreck his. Like, none of his infantry could really stand up against my units of greatswords. So, I was going kind of heavily handed in here to try and take out his main line so I'd have a chance against taking out those Demigryphs. Oh, that's a bit odd. Okay, well, let's ignore that. Bug there. Patch that. CA, patch that. So, here we go. The main lines go charging on in, and I do actually cast... I think I cast a spell here. Yeah, I've got a Flame Vortex spell going on into his main line just before my line hits his swordsman as well. So neither of us went for a Witch Doctor. We decided that they're both kind of a bit overpowered. Well, we decided together that they were overpowered, so we decided not to use them. So this is going to affect my own troops now as well, but I think it did the job. It disrupted his formation while my men got a charge in. Over here, I didn't see these units until they were too late, so his Demigryphs came charging on out. I tried to get a bit of a charge in against the Demigryph Knights, but as you can see, this is heavily one-sided. Those Demigryphs are going to tear through my Empire Knights, and as you can see, they've lost half of their strength already. So, now over here, the engagement is coming down. I'm going to try and turn my halberdiers as they were starting to lose that fight. I didn't get them turned in time, so they went flying through the air. I've turned my artillery now to fire on the Demigryph Knights. I do have the unit of Empire Knights that have come back, but at the minute my efforts are kind of going focused into taking out this main line here, and they're doing a pretty good job. I mean, it is very one-sided. What the frick? Jumping down on the great swords. But you're going to get a smash. You missed your swing there, mate. So this engagement is going to go heavily my way. Oh! Donk. So I'm not really taking too many casualties here, which is what we needed. So without further ado, we'll click back on play. I'm just going to try and get a charge off. I'm not hoping to do too much damage there anymore. But I'm positioning my artillery to fire on his Demigryphs. These Demigryphs are going to come and do a bit of a rear charge in my great swords, but I try and turn them about and do a counter charge. His swordsmen or spearmen are able to do a charge against them, but really, you know, those infantry units will just get wrecked. So at this point in the battle, I do outnumber him by 300 men. So I was feeling pretty hopeful at this point. I was thinking if I could take out his infantry, I could probably fend off against his cavalry. However, his cavalry, these outriders, these missile cav, I've got nothing to really counter them. And now he's starting to pick off my units around here. So his Demigryphs are charging into my crossbowmen. My crossbowmen are still firing as quickly as possible. But you can hear the Demigryphs screaming there. They've gone into my artillery and into my crossbowmen again. So they're routing a lot of my troops across the board there. In terms of the centre engagement, you can see that it's gone my way. This engagement I knew would. So I'm continuing the charge, and as you can see, I've cast another spell to try and tear into that unit while my halberds go in for an attack against his artillery. So those are routed pretty easily. So we've got the burning head here. So I wanted to get my units out of the forest. I was trying to engage his general and his warrior priest, but he was pulling them out pretty quickly and I couldn't really catch up to them. But you can see the balance of power is starting to go in my favour now, and I actually outnumber him by quite a lot. However, you know, we've still got 10 minutes of the battle left, so this is by no means a sure thing. And I'm trying to just fire on his Demigryphs, take out as many as possible with what I've got here. I'm not going to try and charge my swordsman up. As you can see, I'm just trying to mop up any kind of units that are starting to come back. But, you know, it's making my units very tired. They're charging in heavy armour. trying to chase those guys down. And I'm trying to get my men out of range of these freaking outriders. Okay, so I've stopped the chase after these crossbowmen here, and you can see whether I'm going to try and bring my men down and form up here. So we've kind of like switched positions on the battlefield, pretty much. So not too much is going to go on, so we'll just speed this up a little smidge. But those outriders, they're just causing a lot of damage, and they've got a fair amount of ammo, and there's nothing I can counter them with. All of my crossbowmen have pretty much been routed. I do still have a unit up here, I think. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. They are hidden at this stage, which is lucky for me. I do charge my halberdiers into that unit, and, you know, they're not going to last. They will just rout. But you can see that despite still outnumbering 2 to 1, the balance of power still isn't hugely in my favour. It's because of these demigriffs. I did get a decent spell off once again on the outriders. And we actually managed to tear through that unit pretty easily before he pulled them out. And as you can see, it's almost getting in there, but it dissipates just before it can hit his troops. So I just sacrificed that unit. Not a lot I can do. Fire kind of any shots that I can against those demigriffs. So I'm just trying to form up here, kind of hoping that he'll send some men in against me. But at the minute, he doesn't need to. He can just hold here and just kind of shoot my troops as much as he likes. There's nothing I can do to counter this. I could try and charge at him, but it's not going to go too well. And now the balance of power is kind of centering back. The demigriffs, we have reduced them in number a little bit. I mean, they're down to 12 and they're down to 10. So they've lost half their number there. As you can see, he's absolutely decimated that unit of greatswords. And at this point, I'm just thinking, oh bugger. Oh bugger, what can I do? But as you can see, he's going to go for another charge in against me. But they are starting to run out of ammo. So I was trying to get my halberdiers to get a charge in against those demigriffs. But again, they're quicker than me. He can just pull out. But we do manage to almost catch one. Do we catch up with them? No, we're literally just prodding them forward. We're literally just prodding them forward. So I formed up with the great swords on this flank to try and stop any kind of rear charges. It's almost like he's trying to tempt me back with that unit. So we're going to hold here. And we're going to charge our lines together. But again, I think this is more of a delaying tactic while he can get around me. So I just wanted to take down as many men as I could before he can actually get that. I do actually send off a fireball, which managed to, well, kind of hit. But this charge, you know, it's worked. It's going to go my way once again. There's nothing he can do to really counter my great swords in terms of his infantry. And you can see that we've broken them all already. I'm still trying to get my halberdiers to chase them down. And I'm trying to take out his general here as well. So I'm sending in my general as well. But as you can see, he's surrounding that unit of halberdiers. He's rightly picked out that they're quite a threat to the demigriffs. And I'm just trying to counter any charge he can do. But as you can see, he goes smashing through. And then a rear charge. And another rear charge. So my halberdiers, shaken, attacked in the rear. I'm just trying to mop up whatever I can. So his general's going to take out a fair unit. Fair amount of mine. His warrior priest goes in as well. I'm stabbity, stab, stab, stabbity. So over here, I'm trying to bring that unit of great swords in. But I think he's going to get a charge in with that with the outriders. But again, I'm focusing all my attention on just trying to take out his general. So I think if I can take out the general, I might still be able to get this. But I'm start numbering him 2-1. But those demigriffs are lethal, man. Like, they're anti-infantry, so of course they're going to do extremely well against my units. So I'm trying to sacrifice my my Bright Wizard here, getting knocked down by the cav, but again it bought me a few more seconds because I'd run out of the Winds of Magic, so he wasn't of any much use to me anymore. The demigriffs go in. I'm trying to buff my troops to give them a bit more melee defense. Havoc, he's got all of that going on. I think I've also got all of mine going on as well. So just those screams from the demigriffs. Or are they just chirping? They're happy to do some charges. So they're sending my men absolutely flying. But again, charges coming on in. In a way, I was trying to form dense packs so they, you know, wouldn't just rout immediately after being charged, but you can see like those charges are taking down a lot of my troops. I'm buffing as much as I can, but I'm going to endure so many of these cycle charges because you can just pull out, charge, and I can't counter it. I've only got my great swords left. But here I was thinking, yes, we've taken out his general, but he manages to flee. My Bright Wizard, still alive somehow. Not really sure how that's happening. So, still trying to chase down Havoc, but obviously he can get out of there. And I'm just trying to keep them at bay, stop them from charging too much. But now he can just kind of pick off units willy-nilly. And that's, you know, 2 units of great swords routed. Down to 300 men now. Still number in 2-1. Warrior Priest is pretty much routed. And yeah, it's like I'm doing okay. But again, rear charge in there. I was just going all out for the general at this point. I wanted to take him out. I was hoping if I could that would cause a bit of a chain reaction, a chain rout. So I was desperately trying to get whatever attacks I could get on him. And again, I think he's trying to pull him out. But we do manage to take him out there. So, although now the numbers are getting even, where they've lost their general, they're exhausted. So, the balance of power is starting to go a bit more in my favour now. Buffing my units once again. And yeah, that's pretty much GG there. So this was probably one of the closest battles I've fought online on Total War Warhammer, and it was a very, very close battle. Let's take a little look at the stats. But as you can see, those demigriffs, 316 kills for one of those units, so they were absolutely lethal. And my great swords did very well. They pretty much won the battle for me using these fellas. Halberdiers did okay as well. But yeah, there we go. So, good game to Havoc. His channel will be in the description. And until next time, everyone, make sure to leave the video a like and all that jazz. I bid you a very, very good day.